Jurassic World The Game has been out for almost 10 years, if not 10 years as of recording this video. So I think it's about time that we go over a lot of the features that used to be in the game and now are no longer in the game. So the first one I want to talk about, taken out of the game only a few months after its launch. And that was the Argentinosaurus model.
Hey, quit it!
If you open up the game and navigate to your Argentinosaurus, this is the model you'll be greeted by. That's because I, like you, also think that the model is basic. But it didn't used to look like this. It used to look like this. Yes, lovely and chunky.
I like them chunky.
This was the original model that was in the game at launch. So when Ludia themselves invited me to go to their studios in Montreal, I had a hidden agenda. To find out why this model went missing specifically from the game. And the answer may shock you. It was ugly. Straight up, that's the answer. So, I think this makes it officially the first dinosaur to be canned from a Jurassic Park game because it was literally too ugly to exist, apparently. Other changes that were in the game at the beginning but were quickly changed were the Gallimimus skin that was originally a very saturated dark blue, later changed to this color, and I guess they just kept it for the level 40 instead. And the most infamous was the Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus was, and still persists, to be one of the all-time fan-favorite dinosaurs in the entire franchise, and it received a massive glow-up in this game. Its color, even at level 40, were very toned down to begin with. But this was later changed to the Spinosaur that looks like this. Next, we have a change that may have flown under a lot of people's radars. Unlike the previously mentioned dinosaurs, the Stegosaur model stayed in the game for a good few months, if not up to a year, before magically transforming into this. The old model had a lot of detail along the plates and the skin textures, and for my own personal opinion here, I much prefer the older skin. There was never any reason given, though, for the change, but we can assume it's probably for the same reasons given for the Argentinosaurus model change. Ugly. Before we move on to things that aren't just cosmetic changes, I wanted to also mention that the level 40 Superosaurus had a little bit of a different skin back in the early days of the game too. There could have also been some other ones, but obviously I didn't have those ones unlocked or didn't encounter them or they're lost to time. So let's get on to the first feature to be removed from the game, and that's the special missions and live battle events you'd get from packs. That's right, in mystery packs you could actually get missions and live battle events. As soon as they were collected, they would expire in a set amount of time. The prizes for the live battle events were actually really good, rewarding you with a dinosaur of the same rarity as the event. The missions weren't anything to write home about, so I don't really miss those too much. But the fact you would even get books is something that's completely unheard of in the current state of the game. The live events were removed due to them giving the player way too good rewards, and also to make way for the actual tournaments more than likely, as the live events had you face off against real people. Cough, cough. Speaking of mystery packs, you could also buy mystery packs for books back in the day, which seemed like a terrible waste of your money and books. However, I made a video showcasing how much better it was opening mystery packs than wasting your money on a legendary pack, and comparing the two. Not too long after I made that video, they promptly took down the feature which allowed you to buy mystery packs in the first place. I still to this day have no idea why they did this. Thinking about it, people are still spending money on the game, right? The only reason I can think as to why they removed this feature is due to it never actually being intended to be in the game. Aside from the obvious, we don't want people to get that many dinosaurs that quickly, which was probably the most likely reason. A big change that happened to the game, and arguably the worst one, was the change to the battle stage. When you first start the game, the battle stage is how you unlock dinosaurs, and every time you level up, you have another stage to take on. The reward would normally be a new dinosaur, which would automatically unlock it in the dinosaur market, because that was before, you needed to unlock dinosaurs. If you got it, you just had it, and it was unlocked automatically. However, in recent years, Jam City decided that was a terrible idea, and changed the way they worked. Now removing certain dinosaurs from the battle stage and placing them in the new Amber Market. What makes this particularly egregious is that certain dinosaurs they chose to do this with are some of the best dinosaurs in the game, and also have multiple hybrids, meaning that you would need to get at least 2 to level 40 in order to unlock the hybrid. So let's take Dimetrodon for instance, shall we? A creature now locked away in the Amber Market. So, in order to make a level 40, you need to spend 400,000 amber. And if you include that occasionally, in order to unlock other dinosaurs in the new trade harbor, you need a level 40 Dimetrodon for that as well. So that's another 400,000 on top of it. So, how'd you get amber? Well, you do these battles, and it's like the boss battles, and basically you have to be playing the game for ages to even do that. So, as a player, this single change is probably the worst thing Jam City has ever done to this game. A deliberate and unashamable attempt to pad out the game and to twist your arm into coughing up and spending on microtransactions in order to progress at a reasonable pace. On to something not so bad. There was one event that I don't think I've seen in a long time, so I'm putting it here. This is the Raptor Rumble, or the T-Rex version. I can't remember what that one was called. There have only been 2 of these events, in which you try to take on 99 dinosaurs of that species. I'm not too sure why this event hasn't resurfaced in years, but hey, I made a pretty cool thumbnail about it, that's all I'm gonna say. And you know what happens when you have an amazing thumbnail? Everybody else steals it and sort of makes their own. Yay! Next, we have a fan favorite and something I think was sorely underutilized. That's right, it's the brawlasaurs. Released by Hasbro in 2015, these figures were made to be launched at one another in an arena. They also had a scannable tag on the side of them that allowed you to bring them into Jurassic World The Game. In total, there were about 23 of them, ranging from T-Rex, Spinosaurs, and even hybrids like the Spinoraptor. Each brawlasaur's in-game counterpart matched the color scheme of the toy. The major downside to these figures was that in-game, they were only level 1.
Just to suffer.
Meaning that unless you were working with a brand new Jurassic World account, they were kind of useless. And that's why I think this was wasted. Really, they should have had a system that leveled them up. They could have even made these things go above the normal level 40 cap. But alas, nothing was to come of these guys, and in 2018, when Hasbro lost the Jurassic license, these toys were removed from the game. But hey, at least now we have a red Mattel T-Rex in Jurassic World Alive! Said nobody ever. Another feature that no longer exists are the star rating systems in the game. Nothing really to mention here. They quickly scrapped this system as it was pretty obvious to see which dinosaurs were better by their stats on screen and also, the rarity. Back then, everything was all about stars. Even YouTube had star ratings. And this next one is a pretty big one, and that has to do with the refreshing glitch of the battle stage infinite. When you hit a certain level in the game, the battle stage would no longer reward you with programmed rewards. Instead, what it would do would be to generate a random pack as the reward. One little oversight, however. If you closed the game and reopened it multiple times or did a certain trick, it would refresh the pack. Meaning that if your prize was a mystery pack, you could refresh until you got a really good pack to win. And you might be thinking, of course they would want to patch this out. It's an obvious exploit. But when you realize that if you wanted to do a battle one after another, well, it would cost you about $300 to speed that up. And not only that, but these battles used the data of your best creatures to make sure that they were the toughest of the tough, to the point that you pretty much had to use your best 3 dinosaurs to win. So if you really wanted to grind out matches, then you would have to spend bucks to refresh your dinosaurs. So that takes each battle probably up to $500 to $600 a pop. And yes, you might win bucks from the packs, but none of that was ever guaranteed. And so you'd only win bucks sometimes, and that would slightly reimburse the bucks you were spending. But what I'm trying to say here is that this feature was a good thing. It made the player want to play more, want to level up their dinosaurs, and dare I say it, maybe even buy books in the market so they could grind out this technique.
Oh my goodness!
But alas, this glitch was patched out once it made the rounds and the majority of the community found out about it. Finally, we're at the big one. One that when I first heard about it, I thought it was just a rumor and that the photos were just good Photoshop. But no, this was the real deal. And of course, I'm talking about none other than the land versus aquatic battles.
Yes! Indominus Rex!
Hey, you're not supposed to be here. What the hell's going on?
That's chaos.
This particular glitch was something that everybody wanted to see. Obviously, the dinosaur looked a little bit out of place, just sat on the ocean floor, but just seeing a mosasaur taking on an Indominus Rex was every Jurassic World fan's idea of cool. To achieve this, you had to first start a battle, that being the monsters of the deep, minimize the app while performing an attack partway through, and the next battle you started, you'd resume in that lagoon, but with the new roster of dinosaurs. Of course, this whole glitch could be reversed as well. So you could have the mosasaur flying around the visitor center attacking dinosaurs. This never got as much attention as the lagoon glitch. But I remember it, so I'll make sure you remember it too. Look at him fly through the wall. Closing and reopening and exiting out the app in this way actually committed that battle to the game's memory or data. So the next time you would start a battle, let's say a land battle, you'd be chucked back into that event Monsters of the Deep, allowing you to take on whatever was in that battle under the water. So you could use this glitch to grind through events and even the battle stage infinite. And that's why it makes sense that this was patched by Ludia. If not only for the Battle Stage Infinite exploit. You were never guaranteed a good pack, however, and actually by the time that this was in the game, Ludia had taken out legendary packs from the Battle Stage Infinite. Even just as an Easter egg, it would have been a nice nod to the fans who knew about it. And that about sums up all the things that I can think of that no longer exist in Jurassic World The Game. Did you remember any of these? And if you could have one of these back, which one would it be? Also, leave in the comments letting me know if I missed out anything in particular. I know there was like a charity event where you paid money for a pack that you got Pachyrhinosaurus through, but that was like a one-time thing. I'm not expecting that to be a multiple thing. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, as always, leave a like, and I'll see you in another video. Bye-bye.